Hello peoples and popples, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Fiction&Flora, you can call me Flora, and today I will be sharing with you the 6 books I managed to finish in January. That's all the intro I've got, so let's hop into it. The first book I managed to finish is Thejumbies by Tracy Baptiste. This is a story based on Caribbean, specifically Haitian folklore, that follows a young girl who discovers something about herself while also trying to escape from the Thejumbies, and her, along with her friends, try to save their islands from a hostile takeover is the best way to describe it. It was very cute. I liked the strong bonds of family. I like the interactions as far as the bonds of friendship goes. I did end up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars. It was actually closer to 3.75 out of 5, but Goodreads doesn't like nuance. Anyway, I thought it was very great. I do plan to continue because this was the first in a series. I think I don't actually know how many there are. Maybe 2, maybe 3. All I know is I do plan to continue with this. I thought it was really great, and I encourage you to read it as well. The next book I read is The Faceless Old Woman Who Secretly Lives in Your Home by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. I have it here. There I am. By Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. This book follows the faceless old woman who secretly lives in everyone's home, but specifically it follows her from her childhood up until she actually became the entity that she is today, because you find out really early in, I'm not spoiling anything, that she was not always the faceless old woman. Turns out you have to age in order to get to old womanhood. And I think a lot of people like this, including people outside of the Welcome to Night Vale mythology, because this is the 3rd book in the Welcome to Night Vale novel universe. I think people even outside of that fandom will really enjoy this book. It's got intrigue, it's got adventure, it's got some fantastical elements. It reads closer to historical fiction. Think like pirates, think D&D. I think you'll enjoy this. So it gives me D&D vibes. Actually, yeah, no, yes. Not as much magic. Like, there's barely any, but I'm just saying, I think even people outside of this fandom will like it. And I gave that one 3 stars, 3.5. The next one I read, which I have let someone borrow, is Dorohedoro Volume 1 by Q Hayashida, and this follows... Do I ever turn off notifications? We'll never know. This follows Kaiman, I think it's pronounced Kaiman, who is a resident is the underground, overground, in an area where sorcerers routinely come and snatch up people to experiment on them, and he was one of those people who was experimented on, so now he has the face of a reptile, and if you open his mouth, there's another head in there. It's weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It was a wild ride, but I had a lot of fun. In fact, there is an anime based on that, but I don't know if I want to watch it because it's whatever. Anyway, basically, it was fun. It was wild. I encourage you to read it if you're into that. And I gave that one 4 stars. The first one is always like the world building, so I'm interested to read the 2nd and 3rd just to see if I want to continue with the series. The next one I completed in January is Beneath the Moon, Fairy Tales, Myths, and Divine Stories from Around the World by Yoshi Yoshitani. And this, just as it says, is a book full of fairy tales, myths, and divine stories. And I love this. It is very cute. I did not rate it because I didn't feel like it was a rateable book for me personally, but the format is you get 1 story per page, and then you get a beautiful illustration, and like these illustrations really are just absolutely gorgeous. And one of the things, and the author takes legends and myths and everything else from all over the world. We've got indigenous folklore, we've got Latin, both North American, South American, other places. We've got folklore from Africa. We've got folklore from Thailand. We've got Arabic folklore, Chinese. I think this is just a wonderful book. If you are interested in finding out more about different folklore from different cultures, this is obviously not going to be your start all be all, but it is a good starting point, so you can find the ones that you're kind of interested in and go jump off from there. The one thing to keep in mind when you read these is that the author collected folklore from around the world, but when it comes to these kinds of things, they will change from region to region. Hell, they might change from town to town. You might be 3 miles away and it'll sound a little bit different. So always be aware of that. If it's not the one you heard growing up, that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's just that that's what the people that told her is. So like I said, it is just a good jumping off point, so you can learn a small amount about a myth, and then you can learn more of it in the future if you want to. The next book I read, which I also don't have a physical copy to because I liked it so much, I wanted someone else to read it, so it's out in the world. Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. This is a cute graphic novel that follows a young man who just went into the 6th grade, and he has like the biggest crush on this one girl, and he's like, wow, I just want her to notice me, but I'm a complete dork and she's never gonna talk to me, and because, you know, dramatic. And so in order to catch her attention, he's like, oh, she likes vampires, so I'm gonna pretend to be a vampire. And as you can imagine, that leads to some hijinks and shenanigans. I thought it was extremely cute. My favorite part, they had a short little parody in it that was parodying Twilight, which was hilarious. And I just think it's a really cute coming of age. It really delves into it delves into that idea of the nervousness or the insecurity that comes when you find yourself attracted to someone for the first time. If you are the type of person who feels romantic or even sexual attraction, when you first find someone attractive and you first realize you want this person to notice you, it comes with insecurities, it comes with nervousness, it comes with that discovering how to talk to someone phase. It also explores interpersonal relationships between him and his friends, him and his sister to a certain extent, not his parents, because middle grade and like YA don't seem to want to talk about parents. I don't know why that is, because regardless of the relationship with parents, for a lot of people they exist, but I digress. I think it's really cute. I gave it 4 stars, and I encourage you to pick it up. The next and final book of January is The Whole by Hiroko Oyamada. And this is my second book by Hiroko Oyamada, and she is immediately an auto-buy. It is translated works, so it's not like I'm going to have an abundance of them, but wow, I loved every moment of it. And let me tell you what it's about, since I'm just gushing. It follows a young woman whose husband gets a job elsewhere, and so she and him move to the countryside, like right next door to his mother. Because they are moving, she chose to go ahead and in her job, and because it's in the countryside and they only have 1 car, she ends up becoming a stay-at-home wife. That's just how these things fell out. She wasn't devastated, but she was just like, that's how we're doing it. And so we follow her day-to-day life and her getting used to the area, her meeting the people around her. And honestly, if you don't like slice of life, if you aren't in it for the vibes, I can see how this would be boring. I understand that it's not everyone's book. I enjoyed it, but I do understand why others would not. There's not a ton going on, but much like The Factory, what it is, it's that day-to-day revolving door of like events happening, but there's this weird thing that happens, like she's doing something normal and then she noticed something out of the corner of her eye and she's like, what the fuck is that? I love it. It really does explore this idea of identity and what that means when it comes to moving in spaces. I don't want to place Western ideas on Japanese femininity or feminism, but based on some of the reviews by Japanese people, it does, because again, I don't want to put my Western idea on what is not, but from what I understood from reviews by people who are from Japan, it does explore that idea of a woman's area in society, how they navigate that, how identity plays into that, especially when it comes to your marriage and how your marriage affects your place in society as a woman in Japan. I could listen. I thought it was so well written, and I really encourage people to read it. Like I said, I do understand if you don't like it, because it will, it does have nothing going on. So if it's not your vibe, it's not your vibe. But I thought it was beautiful. I thought the atmosphere, I thought it really did explore those ideas really well. So me personally, I think it's great. Those were the 6 books I managed to read last month, and I was really happy with that. That was a great start to the year. And I hope some of you read those if you haven't read them or if you haven't heard of them, because I think it would be great. Anyway, if you want to hang out, you can find me on Twitter. I am there pretty frequently talking about nonsense. If you would like to just see some random day-to-day stuff or to look at sometimes pretty pictures, you can also go ahead and follow my Instagram. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful day and that I will see you in the next video. Bye!